Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing the story, What If Naruto Became Overpowered Young and Built a Harem with Hinata and Anko. This is part 4. If you're enjoying this fanfiction, make sure to smash the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe with the bell icon so you never miss the next part. Alright, let's begin part 4. He was running through the corridor hastily as he tried to locate the room he had to be in. The reason for being in such a hurry was that he was late. Plain and simple. He had decided to make the morning more exuberant by having breakfast at Ichiraku's. Although there wasn't much time gap between when Ichiraku's opened and when he had to report at the said place. Still, since it was ramen, he took the chance. Unfortunately, he had to wait there for more than a few minutes to have the ramen served as a few customers were already there before him. The shop owner was obviously obliged to serve whoever came first. The people weren't fond of him as it seemed they ordered more than they could eat just so that he would be irritated or kept waiting. Naruto was angry at this type of behavior but had learned to control himself. In this case, even if what they were doing was morally wrong, technically they had every right to do so as they were here earlier. And partly it was his own stubbornness to eat at Ichiraku's and not anywhere else. Although afterwards Ayame and Kyuki congratulated him for today by treating him to a free bowl of ramen. Pushing these memories of the same morning aside, he focused on getting to the room he was looking for. If he was late, can't do anything about it, but at least now that he was here it would be better to hurry. He couldn't use the body flicker either since it would make an appealing scene if someone caught him in the act. Running around the corners, he finally found the room he was looking for. He stood in front of the door and when he held up his hand to knock, felt a pinch of nervousness which he didn't know he had until now. Regardless, he knocked on the door which was answered by a, "Come in," from the other side. He slid the door and was greeted with a sight of a classroom full of children who were sitting quietly as the instructor was already present there. It was his first day at the academy and he had to attend the orientation session, and well, he was late for it. He walked inside towards the teacher where he saw another boy with a spiky ponytail standing in front of him with a sluggish posture with his hands inside the pockets with his back on him. Although from the point he opened the door, all eyes in the class were solely on him. Of course he was the last one to reach there so he must have stood out or maybe because the children had been told by their parents to stay away from him so were just studying him. But the main reason was something else and he knew it. It was due to his wardrobe change. He had shifted to a completely orange attire with the orange jacket having white collars with some outline of blue which matched his sandals. It was full-sleeved and loose so didn't show off any muscles that would have been noticed otherwise. He had placed green-colored goofy-looking goggles on his head so that his hair didn't fall down on his eyes. All in all, whatever he wore definitely wasn't to impress. As he approached the instructor, he scolded both the children, "It's the orientation session. Your first day in the Ninja Academy. And yet you're late. I'm letting you off this time but I expect everyone to be on time from now on." The ponytail boy just shrugged his shoulders and uttered an, "I'll try," with a yawn and half-open eyes after which he took up a seat at the back beside a fat pleasantly plump boy who seemed to be eating something. Naruto bowed his head a little and said, "I'm sorry, sensei. I was late for breakfast. But it won't happen again, I promise." "Good. Go on, take a seat," the instructor said. Naruto turned towards the benches and quickly looked for any empty seat but in vain as he couldn't spot any with the class being quite crowded. He thought he had heard a meek feminine voice which tried to call out his name but was cut off as a raven-haired boy shifted aside and politely said, "Hey there, you can sit here if you want." "Hey, thanks. Sorry you had to adjust in your space. My name is Naruto," Naruto said. "No problem, don't mention it. My name's Sasuke," the boy said. Before they could say anything else, they were interjected by the banging of the instructor's hand over the wooden table who shouted, "Silence now, class." This made the quiet rumbling going on here and there which started when the instructor was scolding the boys come to a halt, after which he said, "Good morning everyone. My name is Iruka Yumino. I'm going to be one of your teachers at the Ninja Academy for the next 4 years. I have been assigned to basically welcome you here as I'm the head instructor of this batch, and I sincerely hope that we'll be able to get along." A few chuckles here and there were heard in the class before he continued. "As you know, only those of you here have been the ones selected for the ninja program this year. I assume that you all have seen your entrance scores beforehand, otherwise you wouldn't be here." Naruto smirked as he already knew exactly how much he would have scored, as he knew the cut-off score that he would need to get in order to pass. But from here on things tend to get even more difficult, so don't think that you're already sure to make it to a ninja once you have entered the academy. Having said that, I hope all of you get along with each other, make friends and have fun throughout your school life. My introduction is over. So I'd like to know the names of everybody present here. Everyone will stand up one by one and tell the class their name. I'll also take up this opportunity to create a new attendance register." Iruka finished. One by one, the students started stating A.N. Wow, these words look like a bad tongue twister. Wasn't intended, their names, and Naruto intently listened to know if someone from any major clan was present among them. He found the first one from where a group of girls were sitting. She was a fair-skinned girl who had light blonde hair which reached her neck. She wore a red hairclip to keep her hair from falling. But the distinctive feature was her eyes which, being pale blue, looked clear as glass through which anything could be seen. Maybe that is why her clan was skilled at reading people's minds. Ino Yamanaka was her name. The girl next to her stood up and said, "Sakura Haruno." Like her name suggested, her hair looked as pink as cherry blossom. They were also at neck length, although she tied a red-colored ribbon to keep them tied. Her eyes were as green as a leaf, which didn't go unnoticed by Naruto. Although she didn't come from any clan, he did find himself quite awkward to stare at her longer than required, but he couldn't deny that had instantly developed a small crush on her. Before he could think any further about it, the next girl stood nervously, Hinata Hyuga. The Hyuga clan, considered one of the elite in the Leaf. So they should be quite proud of themselves, and yet, the girl didn't show any signs of it. Her claim was true, as no other clan had eyes as pale-colored as them. Her hair had 2 strands falling on the sides while they were mostly cut at the back. She was fidgeting her fingers, which did mean that she wasn't the least bit confident. He had a feeling he had seen her somewhere but couldn't recall it at the moment. After the girls' group was over, a boy who had a little puppy on the top of his head stood up and started while giving a feral smile. Kiba Inuzuka clan, the one most attached to animals. Their speciality was ninja hounds, with which the clan members worked together to form human-beast combos. But due to such closeness, while the nin dogs started understanding the humans, the vice versa was also true, as the humans started to acquire animalistic behavior and instincts. The dog on his head and that expression only clarified the belief. Next up was a boy whose voice was completely devoid of emotion, as he stated with a stoic expression, and even that was barely visible under his high collar, as he said, "Shino Aburame." Makes sense now. Aburame clan. Members of this clan refrained from chattering as much as possible. Analysis and strategic counter by the use of specialized insects was their primary battle tactic. Note to self. Never even by accident squash a bug in front of this Shino guy. He might set the rest of them on me, Naruto thought as he shivered. After a few turns, it was almost upon him, but not before the one beside. The dark-haired boy stood up and stated his name. Sasuke Uchiha. An Uchiha. Damn it, how could he have missed that? Yeah, that's why, the Uchiha crest on his back wasn't visible until he stood up. That makes sense, doesn't it? Anyways, he was of the Uchiha who were considered as powerful as the Hyuga, although not that influential. Their special eyes weren't conspicuous as that of the Hyuga, but weren't to be taken lightly either. Although it was only possessed by a few members who could be easily counted. He didn't have any time to observe further as next up was him, and he didn't leave any sort of doubt in telling everyone who he was. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. And I'm gonna be Hokage someday, Datbayo. Everyone was staring at him with different expressions. Some were surprised who weren't paying attention, like Shikamaru who fell asleep halfway. Others were trying not to laugh as the scene looked comical, like a few of the girls. Naruto, it's good to hear that you aspire to become the Hokage. And we would have liked to hear more about you. But we're just introducing our names today. We don't have that much time to discuss other things. Please sit down now, Ruruka said. He noticed that Sasuke was watching him from the corner of his eye now trying to find out if he was some kind of weirdo or not. He ignored him for the time being and focused on the last few people that were left to introduce themselves. The second last was the boy who was extra-sized and was still munching down a pack of potato chips in the class. Choji Akamichi. He stated his name. Akamichi clan. The ones who based most of their abilities on physical power. He had swirls painted on his cheek and had light brown hair sticking out in all directions. By the way he said his name, it didn't sound like he was too confident either, but Naruto couldn't tell as it was mixed with the constant crunching of the chips in his mouth. The classroom is not a place to eat, Choji. That's what lunchtime is usually for. And school hours are very less today. So please put it back inside and you may put it outside after you leave, Ruruka said, to which Choji complied although half-heartedly. Naruto thought, a Yamanaka as well as an Akamichi. Quite a coincidence. And the names are Ino and Choji. Wait, Ino and Cho-ji. Then there must be another one, that last boy. His theory was proved true as the last boy put his hand up drowsily, not even bothering to stand, and stated, Shikamaru Nara. He again mentally smacked himself as he didn't notice the Nara clan symbol on the front of his loose t-shirt. Yes, it was true indeed. The heirs of the clan heads were all in his batch and he was sure that at the end he would see them in the same team. The Sandaime was recreating the legendary Ino Shika Cho formation, which was rumored to be even able to stalemate a cage if luck was with them. With that the introduction was finished, and Naruto was deep in thought. This time around all the heirs of the major clans had joined the academy, so while the competition was tougher, on the positive side it was also a chance to make friends with them. He found himself lucky to have such powerful friends as well as rivals. Ruruka had noted all the names in the attendance register before he said, "All right class. It was nice meeting you. I will be going to the principal's office to file these things up. In the meantime, you guys can talk among yourselves. But keep in mind to maintain the decorum of the class. I don't want noise to be heard outside this room. You can leave when the bell goes off." After he went away, Naruto did the first thing to turn towards Sasuke and clarified, "Look, I know I might have seemed a little weird shouting that part, but I was just excited. It's the way I am." Which was actually true. "Haha, I guess you were weird in a way," Sasuke said laughing. Naruto fake pouted but then started laughing together with him. For some time, they made small talk about why they had decided to become ninjas or what their dreams for the future were. The first thing was obvious, as Sasuke was the son of the head of the Uchiha clan, so was almost certain to be a shinobi. About the second part, he told Naruto that he wanted to lead the Leaf Police Force someday. Naruto also reciprocated, although he had basically announced it to his class beforehand. They were interrupted as some girls made their way towards Sasuke whispering about how cool he looked and who would he choose or something like that. Naruto saw that the Yamanaka girl was also among them in the lead, and to his dismay her rival was Sakura, who was trying equally if not more to get Sasuke's attention. Sasuke politely tried to end the conversation and send them back, but they were not at all inclined to do that. After a few minutes, He was irritated as they were starting to get on his nerves. But his mother had told him to stay well-mannered, so he endured. He was relieved to hear the bell as he thanked Kami silently, muttering a quick, "See you later," to the girls and then pulled Naruto by the arm to get out of the class as soon as possible before those girls had another chance to blabber anything else. Naruto was surprised but understood his situation, so complied as they quickly made their way to the outside through the main gates of the academy. Lots of parents were there to pick up their children, so they were able to easily mingle with the crowd. I can't tell you how good it feels to have them off my back. Just kept talking about some irrelevant stuff. I don't know why, Sasuke said. Naruto was about to make a remark on how at least people wanted to talk to him but decided to keep silent as they made their way to where the crowd was less dense. Sasuke, over here, a voice called from where a nearby tree was located. Sasuke turned around as he did not expect anyone to accompany him home. His mother had asked him if she should come pick him up, but he had quickly declined since it would seem like he was still a toddler or something, which was only his imagination, of course. To his surprise, his elder brother Itachi was sitting on the tree branch, who seemed to be patiently waiting for the school to get over so that he could accompany his younger brother to home. "Ni-san, what are you doing here?" Sasuke asked with an unusually happy expression. Itachi jumped to the ground in front of Sasuke and teased, "Oh, I thought you'd be happy to see me. Looks like you don't like me around after you've made friends here." No, it isn't like that, I swear. It's just you are busy most of the time, so I wasn't exactly expecting you," Sasuke defended. "I know, I'm just kidding, Sasuke. I wasn't able to come to the entrance ceremony with my father and mother. I know it doesn't make up for it, but I thought I could at least pick you up from school," Itachi said. "That's great, Ni-san. Let me introduce you to my friend. Wait here," Sasuke said as he ran to where Naruto was observing him. It seemed Naruto was reluctant to come, but Sasuke managed to persuade him. Naruto came and greeted politely, "Good morning, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. It's nice to meet you." Itachi was a little surprised when he recognized who Sasuke's friend was, but greeted back nonetheless. "Likewise, Naruto. I am Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke's elder brother." Naruto was relieved that unlike other guardians, Sasuke's elder brother wasn't afraid of who he was nor tried to tell Sasuke otherwise. On the other hand, Naruto also observed that Itachi wasn't some run-of-the-mill guy. Although Sasuke might also be talented, he was at this point of time nowhere close to the elder sibling. Even while relaxed, he didn't have a single opening that could be targeted to surprise him. Perfect posture, to be able to instantly debilitate or eliminate anyone and anything that seemed a threat in the blink of an eye, including Naruto. Since Itachi looked like such an extraordinary ninja, it wasn't hard for Naruto to imagine that Itachi must have already unlocked his dojutsu. Even after analyzing all that, Naruto couldn't help but agree that his smile was genuine and his behavior didn't give off a single hint that he could be a bad person. He actually felt like Itachi gave off a protective feeling to him, which was extended to him due to being friends with his younger brother. "I would have liked to talk more with you. But we will have to leave now. I have a mission afterwards," Itachi said. Sure. It was nice meeting you," Naruto said. "I look forward to meeting you again, Naruto." "Come on, let's get going, Sasuke," Itachi said with a warm smile. "Bye Naruto. See you later," Sasuke waved. "Yeah, see you tomorrow then, Sasuke," Naruto waved back. He stood there for a few minutes thinking how lucky Sasuke was to have an elder brother while he didn't, but then shoved the thought aside as it could only feed into his insecurity. Plus he remembered that he had promised a bunch of people to meet after he had attended the first day of the academy. So started making his way to his destination, walking through the streets but not before taking a detour to Ichiraku's ramen, as he didn't have time to have his fill in the morning since he was getting late then. Scene break. Meanwhile, a knock was heard on the door of the office of the Hokage. He gave the vocal permission to come in. "Hokage-sama, you summoned me." The person who was currently in the office other than the Hokage himself was none other than the academy instructor Iruka Yumino. "Yes, Iruka. Take a seat. I'd like to talk to you about a student of yours. He has recently been admitted into the ninja academy," the Hokage said. "Thank you, sir," Iruka said as he grabbed a seat from the side and then added, "Sorry to say, but I'm a little surprised you would want to talk about academy students considering how busy a person you are. I've told you this before too, Iruka. The future of the leaf is what will ultimately carry on the will of fire. No work is more important than ensuring that happens to me as the Hokage," he said. "Apologies, Hokage-sama, I understand. And considering how much talented crop has been admitted this year, I can't help but be excited at how they turn out to be," Iruka said, smiling. "Yes, I too am curious about that prospect too. But I need to talk about someone specific. He is an intelligent kid, let me tell you. And I would like you to be lenient on his attendance at the academy. It would be easier for him this way to better himself without worrying about the regularity of attending the classes," the Hokage said. "I had expected many things, but that, Hokage-sama. It is quite a surprise since there hasn't been such a student until Itachi Uchiha. But again, he was a genius of his own. Already knew everything we could have taught him at the academy," Iruka said, but then interrupted himself by saying, "I'm sorry. Prattling on about my past students, how silly of me. So who is it this time? My bet is on his younger brother, Sasuke Uchiha. He looks quite a promising one too, although not to that degree. I expected you to be. And you're right, Sasuke Uchiha is a promising one, all right. But I can't say I'm talking about him at the moment," the Hokage said. "Oh, so someone else then. I can't think of anyone right now who'd be more propitious than Sasuke even among the clan heirs. Although the Hyuga kid from last year was quite something, that's not the case this time. Surely I must have missed something that you didn't," Iruka said. "I'm afraid you're going in the wrong direction. The one I'm talking about is not among the clan heirs. I'm actually surprised you didn't name him yet," the Wei with a bit of confusion. "I don't quite follow what you're trying to get to, Hokage-sama," Iruka said. "The one I'm talking about is Naruto Uzumaki," the Hokage plainly said. "With all due respect, Hokage-sama, do you even know what you're saying?" Iruka said in perplexity. It was the Hokage's turn to be surprised as he asked, "Why, is there a problem? I thought he'd have a good impression on you. Or should I believe that you still hold some kind of grudge against him?" "No sir, that is not the case anymore. I do not carry any ill will towards him. All that is in the past. But I have seen his entrance test scores and can surely tell that he's barely passed. How can you expect me to believe that he is being given any kind of priority over Sasuke, who had scored the highest of all?" Iruka demanded. "Naruto barely passed. Now that is a fact that I was unaware of. There must be a good reason behind it. I've got no doubt that he could have easily scored higher if he wanted. I'll ask him personally. Meanwhile, please do as I told you," the Hokage said. "Hokage-sama, I urge you to please reconsider. There is no way he could be like you just implied. I have observed him along with the others the whole time. Nothing seemed to suggest that he would be anything more than an average kid, if not less. His personality is, how to put it, exactly opposite to that of Itachi. Why you still believe that he's better than what meets the eye is beyond me," Iruka said. "Then that means he was even able to fool his teacher along with everyone else. Let me tell you, Iruka, you're right. His personality is not like Itachi. He is outspoken and mischievous, but that doesn't mean he is any less than the other. You'd believe it too if you had seen him, the Hokage said. Yes sir, if you say so. I had another question, why did you tell me specifically about it? You could have easily changed the records if you wished. Do you still believe that I possess hatred against the child because of what happened all those years ago? Ruruka asked. Quite the opposite, Ruruka. It is because I trust you the most with him. He is in a lot of ways like you, an orphan whose parents were killed during the attack of the nine-tailed fox spirit. He had been picked on by the villagers for years. And even now there are a lot of people who want him gone. Those who don't, only try to stay away from him because they fear him. The younger generation doesn't know anything about it due to the decree I passed, but watching everyone else they also acquired the same behavior regarding the reason, the Hokage explained with a sigh. He added, those against him are also in the upper part of the hierarchy and will make every effort to downplay or degrade him in some manner. I have faith in you, that is why I chose to give you this responsibility. Ruruka found himself unable to give any sort of reply to what he had been told just now. He didn't want anyone to go through what he did. And the kid had it worse, since at least no one tried to hurt him. I understand, Hokage-sama. Thank you for telling me. I will do as you say, Ruruka said. Pleased to hear that. If you don't have any further questions, you may leave, the Hokage said. Ruruka bowed respectfully and left the room while the Hokage started working again on his paperwork, which had considerably lessened since he had taken the help of shadow clones. The Hokage was grateful to Naruto till this very day, as the idea has made this curse somewhat bearable. Outside, as Ruruka was walking back through the corridor thinking on the same topic, he was unexpectedly greeted with the sight of none other than Naruto himself. Oh, Ruruka-sensei. What a coincidence to see you twice in the same morning at different places, Naruto said with a grin. Naruto, it's as you say. But do you mind if I ask what you are doing here? Ruruka asked. Oh, not at all. Gigi asked me to meet him after my first day at the academy. That's why I'm here, Naruto replied. Ruruka was surprised at how close both the Hokage and Naruto seemed to be. Although it was true that the Hokage has always been kind to those who need help in distress, as he did for himself too when he was wrapped up in anger and sorrow over the loss of his parents. But it seemed that Naruto was even closer to him in some way. I see. I was here as well to meet Hokage-sama. Do you know why? Ruruka asked. I don't. Why would I? Naruto said. It was about you, Ruruka said. Naruto was a little surprised but maintained his composure as he said, wow, me. What about me? Mainly about the fact that you purposely scored low in the entrance test and aren't quite what you seem to be, Ruruka said, eyeing him. Naruto knew now that the Hokage had spilled the beans to Ruruka for whatever reason, but the primary fact being he couldn't fool him any longer. I see. So what do you want from me, sensei? Naruto asked with an unreadable expression. I just want to know why you try to hide the facts if you're as good as Lord Hokage claims you are. Why not show everyone the real you? Ruruka asked. Naruto's expression turned serious as he now knew that Ruruka had a good talk with the Hokage and said, because I'm no ordinary child. You know what's inside me, right? Ruruka was surprised as he didn't know Naruto had already been aware of the 9 tails that was sealed inside of him. How did you? I just know. That's all I can say. But now you can understand, people will only try to hurt me more if I would be seen as a greater threat to all around us. I guess I've said too much. Sorry to have bothered you anyways, Naruto said. I'm sorry, Naruto. It's my fault that you were forced to talk like this. But I still want to get to know you more. I was the same as you, not in all ways but still. My parents had died in the 9 tails attack, and if not for Lord Hokage I would have taken some wrong steps because of the misery that I felt, Ruruka said. Naruto's expression softened as he said, I'm sorry for your loss, Uruka-sensei. But I still can't tell you everything. I trust Gigi that whatever he told you was for the good. But I can't say the same about me. Uruka further said, then don't. I don't want to hear what you can't say. Just have a normal conversation with me. You are my student as well and I don't want any of them to go through what I had. Naruto said with a hint of upturn on his lips, I guess we can do that. So can we meet sometime over ramen? I hope you like the stuff, Uruka asked. Naruto couldn't help but give a full-blown smile as he said, I basically live on Ichiraku's ramen, Uruka-sensei. That'll be great. But it's your treat. Deal. Uruka said smiling. Naruto was now feeling more comfortable around the teacher so decided to show off a little to clear his doubts. See you later, sensei, Naruto said as he vanished. Uruka watched wide-eyed at the spot where Naruto was standing just before. Was that the body flicker technique? Naruto opened the door after knocking, not bothering to hear the reply as it was quite informal of him to visit the Hokage every now and then. Gigi, it's me, Naruto said. Ah, Naruto. I was wondering when you'd come, the Hokage said, still signing his paperwork. You thought I forgot. Fat chance. By the way, I met Uruka-sensei outside, Naruto said. Oh, I just met him. He was saying something about your test SCO, the Hokage stopped as he lifted his head to see Naruto. He blinked his eyes several times before knowing that his eyes weren't playing games with him. Naruto was really dressed in an absurd manner, and calling it ridiculous wouldn't be over the top. Naruto, what would have happened to make you dress in such an unfashionable way, he said. Nothing much, really. I just didn't want to stand out, Naruto said. The Hokage just kept staring hard until Naruto said in a defeated manner, okay. I guess I stand out more like this. But the point is, I don't want to show off anything yet. Keeping that a secret would be better for me. Is that the reason why you also scored low on the test? I know you've been studying quite a lot so the academy test should have been a breeze, the Hokage asked curiously. Yes, you're right. I just attempted the exact number of questions which would have me score a little higher than the cutoff score. In this way, nobody would suspect anything, Naruto said. All that is well and good, but care to tell me why to all this? If anything, you would have better chances at making more friends if they see you as an intelligent child. Isn't that partly why you started studying early on so that you'd be ahead at school, the Hokage said. So that they don't try interfering with my school life. Those who want to see me failing will try to sabotage the tests or the results to ensure that I don't excel. But that is only if they know I can do that good. But what if I am already struggling to pass? I don't think they'd go out of their way to do anything which is already happening, Naruto said. The Hokage already had an idea who Naruto was talking about but was still surprised why he felt the need to do so. He asked, Naruto, why would you think that somebody would? The civilian council, Naruto interjected. The Hokage frowned as his guess was right. He asked, how did you know? Come on, Gigi. As well as I do, normal civilians don't have any direct or indirect control in shinobi programs but their representatives do. And of course, since they hate me to such a degree, it's obvious that their representatives do too, Naruto said. You don't need to worry about these kinds of things. Those who try to interfere will be punished accordingly, the Hokage said sternly. I have no doubt about that. But after all, those not guilty will also be forced to do the wrong under the council's pressure. And the council will simply deny anything if someone accuses them. Instead, only those being used will have to bear the punishment, Naruto said defensively trying to prove his point. Naruto, the Hokage trailed off not knowing how to reply. Gigi, it would be beneficial for everyone this way. The academy instructors may be shinobi, but there is a lot of civilian staff which can be manipulated. There would be a need for you to change a part of that system just for me, since they are not going to target anyone else. As I said, they still wouldn't go out of their way if the situation doesn't demand so. I want them to play the game according to my rules, not the other way around, Naruto explained. But, if I may put it this way, you would have to live in the shadows for even more. I don't want you to do this, you've had enough already, Hiruzen said concerned. Huh, I guess I'll be a junior Anbu Black Op guy then. Trying to play mind games with the enemy to succeed, Naruto said as he laughed. He added, and it's not that I'll forever have to be like this. I'll use this time to improve my skills further and become even stronger. Once I become a ninja, I'll only be answerable to either my in-charge or the Hokage. It's a smooth road from then on ahead. The civilian council cannot in any case touch me, at least legally. And I'll be fully capable of dealing with them if they go by the alternative method. Very well then, I suppose you've had this thought out. I suppose reading a lot did make you smarter. But Naruto, let me make it clear, I don't want you to take this burden just so that it makes the situation easier for me or anyone else on your account. Still, if you're adamant about this, then I can only say that I'm thankful and apologize for not being able to implement the right methodology and rules in this system, the Hokage said. No, you don't need to do that. The one who should be thankful is me, since if you didn't help me, I'd still be just some orphan who would be really struggling through the academy like I'm portraying to, Naruto said. But then added, enough about all that, I also wanted to ask what we are going to do about the ninjutsu training now. Last time you said that we've completed my training and I'd have to just practice on my own. That's right, I have taught you the basic manipulation part. Learning the techniques would require practice which you can only do on your own. About the fire release, you still have to go away before it is perfected. So there's nothing I can do besides standing around watching you try. I won't be much help in the wind department either, the Hokage said. I guess I'll have to learn on my own from now on, Naruto said, having doubts if he could do so or not. The Hokage thought of giving him a hint of what's about to commence as the next step of his training. Although, you have yet to master the most powerful weapon that is in your arsenal, the Hokage said. Most powerful. I thought we had covered everything important already, Naruto said, thinking while his hand on his chin. What one considers as a bane might sometimes be a boon too. There are two sides of a coin, after all, the Hokage smirked. You mean that, the nine-tailed fox inside of me. I thought it was just a demon fox which was sealed inside to stop it from wreaking havoc upon our village, Naruto said, surprised and confused. It's understandable that you haven't encountered any book which might have provided information on the fox spirit. There is very limited information regarding the tailed beasts and it is almost non-existent in terms of public access, the Hokage said. So what is it then? How is it useful to me? Naruto asked, not catching on the part about other tailed beasts. The nine-tailed fox is nothing but a massive embodiment of chakra. That is precisely why it could be sealed within you, that is, a human host. If you could somehow gain voluntary access to that kind of chakra, you might be able to defeat me in battle, the Hokage said. Wow, that is so absolutely awesome, Naruto almost shouted. Calm down, don't forget what I just said. There are two sides of a coin. The fox spirit is also an embodiment of evil itself. If that malice takes control over you, the fox will be once again unleashed on the village. We were fortunate enough that Lord Fourth was able to save us back then. He's not among us today though, is he? The Hokage scolded him. I'm sorry. I never thought about that. But how am I even going to confront it again? It was only once back then when I accidentally tapped inside my mind. Since then I haven't even felt as if there was a presence inside me. And when I do, how will I control that power if it gets out of hand? Naruto said. The Hokage smirked as if he was waiting for this very moment all this time. I happen to have the perfect way for you to do that. Listen carefully, for what I am going to tell you isn't available in the books you've been reading. There were two people in history that were said to be able to even suppress the power of the Nine Tails and could tame it. One was the leader of the Uchiha clan, whose name was Madara Uchiha. He had a mastery over the Sharingan. The other was our very own first Hokage, the head of the Senju clan, Hashirama Senju. He and he alone in the history of shinobi was the one able to use the wood style, or Mokuden, which had the power to suppress Nine Tails chakra. Wow, their power must be ridiculously awesome. But they are no more. So does that mean there is someone else who can control the Nine Tails power? I know, probably someone from the Uchiha clan. They still have the Sharingan while Mokuden is lost, Naruto said. The Hokage's eyes turned into one of hostility and pain at the same time, but managed to keep his expression as normal as it could be. Naruto noticed but decided to remain silent at the moment. I think it would be better if you meet the person I mentioned yourself. All your doubts would be cleared then. Also, I hope your taijutsu and kenjutsu training is going on smoothly as usual. Even if I won't be teaching you anymore, I'd still like to keep being informed, the Hokage said. Yes, it sure is. I've come a long way from when I started, but still there's a long way before I can match sensei either in taijutsu or in kenjutsu, Naruto said. I see. Anyways, keep working hard and you'll get there someday. Your teachers aren't slackers either, they've trained a lot more than you and still keep at it while they train you, the Hokage said. Yeah, I know. I'll train even harder than them and everyone else until I get that hat on my head, Naruto said, grinning. So I guess everything else went normally at the academy, the Hokage asked. Not exactly. I was late since I had to wait at Ichiraku's for breakfast. So I got scolded the very first time I entered my class, Naruto said. He continued, but after that it was good. Although not everyone is not very friendly looking towards me, it still feels good to be with people your own age. I made a friend too. Good. I knew you'd enthrall someone or the other with your unique character. What is his name? Or is it her, huh? The Hokage asked with a teasing smirk. What? Hey, no, it's a boy. His name is Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto said. The Hokage's eyes just slightly widened at the name, which revealed that something was really going on beneath the scenes with the Uchihas. But Naruto didn't have a clue since he didn't have a reason to suspect anything. Ah, that's great. His brother is an excellent ninja in his duty to Konoha, and I hope that he too will be one day. Like I hope you will, the Hokage said. I know. Itachi Uchiha, right? Naruto asked. How do you know that already? Can you read minds too? The Hokage chuckled, somewhat surprised. Ha ha ha, as if. I met him when he came to pick up Sasuke and walk him home. Believe me when I say this. With all I have learnt, I felt that I would freeze up totally helpless if he sent one bad look at me. But that didn't happen. He seems kind of a real nice guy, Naruto said. Trust me, if he wants he could freeze up a Junin with those eyes of his, the Hokage thought. Yes, he is a nice person that I can agree with, he told Naruto. It was just the first day, so I didn't get to meet many children. But I did notice, Naruto trailed before getting a raised eyebrow from the Hokage and said, that most of the children of the clan heads are in my class. In other words, all the probable future clan heads. Did you know about that? Naruto said. Yes, I did. And let's just say you're lucky to be the same age as them. Now if there's nothing else, I have to get back to work, so you may leave, the Hokage said, looking at the wall clock above the door. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the time. I'm late. See you later, Gigi, Naruto said and ran off. Somewhere in training grounds. Does this kid have any past occurrences of being in companionship with him? The newcomer asked. The other pair of sensei, knowing that he was referring to a certain silver-haired man, looked towards each other and shook their heads to reply in negative. Then why the hell is that boy so damn late? A feeling of déjà vu hit Naruto as he was sprinting towards the meeting location through the training area. He had already stuffed away his jacket in one of the scrolls as soon as he was out of sight from the crowded areas because the heat was too much to bear. Under the jacket was a black t-shirt with a red swirl on the back. Although not too fashionable, he was now looking at the very least normal, as he had also put away the glasses on his head. When he could make sure that nobody was around anymore, he unsealed a Bakken from a storage scroll. It was then put inside a plastic sheath and tied behind his back so that he could use it like a real sword user would. He closed his eyes and expanded his sensory range as well as sensitivity, but it didn't give him any indications of anything unusual. Still, he had his doubts that something was off. While still running at a constant pace, he sent out his special wave of chakra from his body. His hunch appeared to be true as a smirk formed on his face. Hey guys, remember to keep your chakra suppressed as much as you can. He's coming, if we're lucky we'll catch him by surprise, Yugao said. She knew from a few past interactions that Naruto was an excellent censor. Even more so than herself, quite to her discontent and disbelief. He could always sneak up to them and pull pranks, yet no one could sneak up on him without getting caught. And she was an Anbu for crying out loud. Or maybe ex-Anbu. Part-time Anbu. Anyways, that wasn't the point. But again, the boy was her student. So she couldn't help but feel proud of the fact that he would surely reach new heights quickly if he was this skilled early on. Only Kami knew what a shinobi would be when he was her age. A few minutes later, Naruto was seen racing towards them on the dirt path exactly as they anticipated. They were hiding in the trees around the path stealthily to catch him by surprise. By the looks of it, it seemed that Naruto was oblivious of any type of trap or ambush that could be launched upon him any second. I guess our plan worked. Doesn't look to me like he suspects anything yet, the newcomer said. Hayate wasn't enthusiastic even a bit about trying to attack his own student out of the blue. Sure, they had coordinated surprise attacks during Naruto's training a lot of times to sharpen his reflexes. But subconsciously he was at least alert about that. Now, it had been a lot of days since he was given a break from the training because of the fact that the academy session was going to be started. And he wouldn't exactly be expecting in the least for his teachers to ambush him like hunters or something. Granted, they were only going to use blunted weapons for the ambush, but that doesn't exactly make it reasonable. Guys, I still think we should just, let it go. He might have been occupied somewhere else. It was his first day, at the academy after all, he said. But the other ones were not as reluctant as him, since they thought that the reason was suitable enough to punish him in some way. And what better way to punish someone than to surprise attack a kid who just came from his first day of school, right? Well then, we don't agree. What kind of student keeps his teachers waiting? It's bad enough when it's the other way round, but this is just unacceptable, Yugao said. She was even more annoyed because the teachers had gathered there before the meeting time with Naruto due to the fact that they had to explain quite a lot of things to him about Naruto since he was going to be the new instructor instead of the Hokage. Come on, that's not good enough a reason to do what we're about to. From what I see, you're acting on emotions more than you agree, Hayate said. I don't think so. Besides, it will be a good show of Naruto's skills to the new guy we have here. You remember we did the same thing the first time, right? Yugao said. Hayate shook his head slightly indicating that he knew it would be a waste of time arguing with her, so he turned his face towards the newbie with an expectant look. He tried to ignore it first but then said, "Look, don't get me wrong. I definitely wouldn't want to do this in normal circumstances. But she says that the kid is skilled enough to hold his own, and I am curious about his abilities too. Moreover, I do want him to be punctual. I've already had enough people being late already, and you know I'm talking about one person." He was telling the truth, as the silver-haired Junin had made him wait every time they set up a casual meeting. This had increased multifold after he left the Anbu where one had to be disciplined. Now he would make people wait for hours and hours, which was quite irritating for anybody. Somewhere on a mission, a shinobi sneezed while reading an erotica. Hayate sighed as he knew that he had lost the argument against the majority. Might as well look on the bright side now. Naruto would get a real-life simulation of an ambush, which made a point that a shinobi should always be alert of his surroundings even when he is relaxed or least expects it. Naruto had almost reached the location where they were hiding and now the game was about to begin. As soon as Naruto got into their range, Yugao launched herself first in the hopes of getting the fight in their favor at the beginning, as she knew the boy had some heavy damage moves that he could use. But before she could reach him, he dropped a few smoke bombs almost instantly, as if expecting her, and before anyone else could realize what was going on, the whole area got completely covered in smoke. Hayate was the first to react as he entered the smoke cloud while the other one stayed put watching the show carefully. Inside, Yugao was equally surprised since she also neither expected Naruto to have realized the trap nor did he show any sign that he did. She kept her sword ready for any attack that might come her way and was proven right as a Bakken made its way swinging towards her midsection from her 4 o'clock. While it was quite easily defendable, she was yet again outsmarted as a hand clasped her ankle from underground tightly, causing her to lose her balance, unable to cleanly dodge or block the hit that was almost upon her. Damn it, he attacked me from behind while he had already hidden a shadow clone under the ground, Yugao thought. Frankly speaking, she just found it very much annoying that he could hide his chakra so well. As she relied quite a lot on her chakra sensory abilities in addition to the original 5 senses, it was a no-brainer that she'd have difficulty overcoming that habit. It was almost challenging. In a way, she was training because of her student in these moments and not vice versa. Anyways, as she prepared to take the first hit, promising herself not to fall for the trick again, the Bakken was halted inches away from her by another sword. Phew. It was safe to assume that Hayate had arrived just in the nick of time. He was in a better position than Yugao to counterattack, so he swung his right foot into an opening which was created because Naruto had held the Bakken with both his arms to maximize the attack strength. Hayate's primary objective was to create some space between them to regain their balance since Naruto had overturned the element of surprise on them. Yet it wasn't as good an idea now since Naruto instantly bursted into smoke upon getting the hit. He's underground. It was a trap to get our attention disturbed, Yugao told Hayate. Hayate was about to reply in acknowledgement, but the ground under them cracked in between, from which Naruto emerged ready to attack. This time the duo was ready for it. As soon as he was completely in the air, Hayate swung at him, which was blocked by his Bakken. Yugao had the advantage as she was in his blind spot. Hoping to take the edge, she kicked him straight in the back. Two things occurred simultaneously. 1. Her foot ended up hitting Hayate's sword directly as yet another shadow clone popped out of existence in a cloud of smoke that was acting as a barrier between them. Oh, that Naruto and his shadow clones. Annoying as ever, Yugao thought. If this was a shadow clone, then where's the ray? Hayate thought before getting interrupted. Second, they heard a feeble voice which was actually a really loud one but was dampened in the heat of the battle, of which the only part audible to them was, "Above you." It was sufficient enough, well, it better had been. Fortunately, the subconscious mind, or basically the instinct kicked in time and both jumped backwards in opposite directions, and not a moment too soon, as Naruto punched the ground hard, shattering the earth around dozens of meters. The sensei duo weren't unscathed as the debris that flew due to the impact had grazed them quite a lot. However, there were no injuries except for a few scratches here and there as they managed to cut through most of the rocks easily. Anbu-level ninja are no joke, obviously. Honestly though, regular Anbu are just fodder ninja. Naruto stood straight and shook the dirt out of his hands and his clothes calmly. Both of the teachers looked at him with mild annoyance at his uncaring show-off. "Sensei, did you really think that you could play a prank on me? No way am I gonna let that happen. Although this one seemed a little too extreme to be a prank, don't you think? It's good that our guest here saved your butts by warning you or you'd have to visit the hospital, or at least first aid," Naruto said. Although still annoyed, they knew he was telling the truth. The voice that they heard had indirectly saved them from staying in too close with the attack, which could deal a good amount of damage. They made a mental note to thank him later. But for now, shut up. This is not some prank. Do you know how late you are from our meeting time? Is this a way to show your manners? You were always on time before. One day at the academy and you forgot about manners already, Yugao snapped. Naruto's expression changed to one of guilt and said, "I'm really sorry about that. I went to meet Gigi first and lost track of time until I realized I was late. It won't happen again. I'll always be on time from now on. No, scratch that, I'll be here before the given time. Just please, forgive me today." "Fine, but that won't just make me let it pass. As you may already know, he is your new teacher. Why don't you show some of your skills since we're up to this?" Yugao said in a scolding tone, but inwardly she wasn't angry with him anymore, which was kind of visible on her face. What girl could resist some cute kid asking for forgiveness, right? "Really? Thank you. And sure, I'll show you how strong I am, Datbeo, sensei," Naruto said, turning his head towards the tree after thanking Yugao. Both the males' sweat dropped how easily Yugao changed her mind about teaching Naruto a good lesson or something on those terms. "Get ready then, here I come," Yugao said, pulling back and pressing her foot on the ground before disappearing in a flicker. Naruto saw that he also had a good opportunity to test out how much he had learnt so far. So in a way he was also excited to let loose and show off the results of his training, which he wanted to check for himself too. He pulled up his Bakken in front of him with both hands and prepared to meet his opponent head on as he too jumped, vanishing in a flicker. The volume of swords clanking wasn't as sharp or loud as it would have been in an actual sword fight, metal against metal, but there wasn't any less display of swordsmanship between the two. Yugao was going easy on him since she was still quite better at this art due to her years of training and experience. But Naruto was trying his best to give her a good challenge. He slashed diagonally on her shoulder, which she dodged with a sidestep and brought her sword upwards in a slash. Naruto reacted quickly as he jumped backwards, avoiding the sword. Yugao didn't give him much time to recover as she once again engaged him in a duel. At this moment, Hayate too barged in, knowing that Naruto would be more pressured against two people since there was no telling how many opponents someone can have in a real battle simultaneously. It wasn't anything new since they had him train with shadow clones regularly, in a way simulating a situation like this. But both of them were more skilled than those clones of his, thus he'll have to improvise and push hard if he were to stand a chance. Moreover, it would give the spectator an even better impression of Naruto's skills. After all, it was because of this reason they were doing all this, right? Anyways, it was already having an effect as the onlooker was observing closely with wide eyes how a mere kid could keep up with someone of an Anbu-level ninja. Scratch that, now he was dealing with two. Granted, they were holding back from going all out, but still, he could clearly see that they weren't playing around either. Neither was the kid. He was keeping up with both of them at the same time. Struggling a little, but keeping up nonetheless. After calmly observing the clash of swords for some time, he knew that Naruto was starting to show signs of fatigue subconsciously. He decided to test him out a little himself before the others completely tire him out. Whatever was to be shown had been seen and acknowledged completely, so there wasn't any need for unnecessary further observation. Naruto, on the other hand, was keeping up well with the two opponents, but his body was slowing down little by little with every move, no matter how much he wanted to go on from the inside. It wasn't all bright and sunny on the other side either, still at least they were faring much better than Naruto. Most of their fatigue rose due to the fact that Naruto's hits were sometimes chakra enhanced and they had to put much more force in blocking them if dodging wasn't the alternative. Both of them were standing in opposite directions a few meters away on both sides. He kept his gaze locked on both of them at the same time. Well, more like his sensory ability gaze, and not the visual one. But that didn't mean he was not careful of the surroundings, which showed when he backflipped as numerous shuriken hit the spot where he was standing moments before. Sensei, too impatient to just watch the fight, huh? I knew now or later you'd come down too. Guess you're as impulsive as me. Naruto grinned, focusing on the brunette guy. Nothing like that. I just didn't want the others to completely tire you out. To be honest, I'm impressed by your performance. But let's see how you handle this, he challenged before he slammed his hands on the earth after weaving a few hand signs. Naruto understood the hand signs that signified the use of a specific type of nature release, but couldn't get away in time since he was tired, no matter how much he denied that. Soon enough, the ground around him evaginated and enclosed him in a thick earth-style hemispherical barrier. Can't push your way out using your Bakken alone. Show me what you got, he said, encouraging Naruto since he was curious about what was to happen next. The other duo had already sheathed their swords when it was indirectly declared that they were not to tire out Naruto more than they already did. They were equally curious what Naruto would do next, but for different reasons. While the new guy had no idea what Naruto could do, they had anticipated a variety of ways Naruto would handle the situation. It wasn't that tough, after all. The barrier was designed such that it would regenerate in a few seconds from wherever it would be damaged or broken. The caster had kept his hands on the ground connected to the jutsu to make this happen. He was fairly confident that no average trick would help Naruto break free. In addition, making his way through the ground might have been an option before, but that trick was already taken into account. Naruto would be thrown back into the dome even if he managed to get underground. This was partially why the opponent used an earth-style based tactic. But little did he know that if there was anything in the village which could be ranked at the top of "surprise me" list, it would be that boy. In a matter of a few seconds, a large part of the barrier instantly went brittle as an electric discharge of marked intensity passed inside it momentarily. What would have happened next was a no-brainer as half of the dome shattered with the debris flying outwards. Naruto was visible standing inside the barrier or now lack thereof, with one hand balled into a fist where the wall would have been a few moments earlier, clearly confirming how the barrier broke. Lightning style. Spark. Although the barrier did have the ability to regenerate, the process was now extremely slowed down due to two reasons. The more the area of the barrier was damaged, the more time would be taken to repair it. And, I see you have even learned how to manipulate nature release. A big feat enough itself. And fortunately your affinity is Raiden, which is the best counter against my Doden. Lightning is quite tough to control compared to some other natures. Well, guess I'll have to say it now. Mark me impressed, Uzumaki Naruto, the opponent said. I am honored by your words, thank you. But I still didn't get your name, Sensei, Naruto said. Yamato. You can call me by this name. You've earned that at least, I can say, he said with a smile. Still hiding your last name, Yamato-sensei. I realize now, you've been far from actually testing my skills. You've yet to even activate your Sharingan. Don't think I'll let you go so easily without a good spar. We're just getting started, Naruto said. What? I'm afraid you've got the wrong idea, kid. I'm not who you probably think I am, Yamato said with a neutral expression. Save it. I know exactly why you're here and what I will be training for. Furthermore, you didn't tell me your last name. Why'd anybody hide it like that? I know that you're an Uchiha. Come on now, use your Sharingan. I wanna have a battle with you that way, Naruto said. Look Naruto, I don't know why you think I'm an Uchiha, but I am not. Will you please stop that? Yamato said. Fine, sensei. Yamato was almost relieved that he'd dropped the topic for good, but he didn't know about Naruto's stubbornness. If you're not doing it voluntarily, I'll make you do it, Naruto declared. For a moment Yamato thought he heard laughter from where the other teacher duo was standing on a tree away from them. He ignored it, knowing that they surely must be having fun watching the drama that Naruto was creating here unfold. Although before he could say anything else, Naruto charged at him. He was now concentrating on parrying the blows since Naruto seemed to be attacking more aggressively than before. From what he thought, the most probable reason was exactly what Naruto said, to force him to activate his Sharingan. Hell, he'd even activate it to stop the kid, if only he had it, for Kami's sake. What was he supposed to do now except wait until Naruto calmed down a bit? But waiting wasn't as easy as it sounded, as he had his hands full of an obstinate child none other than Naruto himself. Now, Naruto wasn't showing any signs of giving up at all, as he strikes with more power and speed with every blow. He knew that he might not have any chance to win once his opponent goes serious, but that's quite better than him holding back completely. He wanted him to acknowledge his own power not only by words but by actions too. The increased speed wasn't giving Yamato a hard time as much as the power behind it. Quickly making some distance between them, Yamato weaved a few hand signs quickly and used a jutsu to push Naruto back without actually harming him very much. Sweeten. Mizorupa water style. Wild water wave. He let out a huge stream of water flowing towards Naruto at high speed in hopes of catching him off guard. But Naruto didn't even hesitate as he too weaved some hand signs and slammed his hands on the ground. Doten. Doryuheiki earth style. Mud wall. Soon enough, a wall erupted from the ground in front of him, obstructing the path of the wave into which it crashed in a matter of a few seconds. Naruto just jumped over it and continued on his path, running on the water smoothly. What? I thought I saw him use Raiden before. Did he trick me? Did he manipulate my earth-style barrier using his own? Yeah, no matter how improbable, that must be it, Yamato thought wide-eyed. Naruto yet again surprised him as he weaved a different set of hand signs this time and shouted. Sweeten. Sweeten no jutsu, water style, water bullet. A stream of water followed the straight path and Yamato was directly in line with it. He could have countered it somehow but was too gripped in astonishment. As the stream made its way towards him he thought. Sweeten. No way, I'm definitely sure he had used Doten. Then why is he able to use Sweeten? He's just a kid. I'm starting to think it might just be a really good genjutsu that I'm trapped in. Kai. Damn it. The water jet hit him head-on as he just had enough time and the reflexes to cross his arms in front of him and skidded backwards due to the pressure that was exerted upon him. When he looked up to where the attack came from after it ceased, he found a widely grinning Naruto. What happened to Sensei? Still not convinced enough to fight me seriously, he shouted. Yamato was about to make another exasperated remark but was cut off instantly as Naruto shouted again. I hope you will be after this. In a split second, the water behind him splashed from within and a figure flipped out holding a sword-like weapon. Yamato only had the time to turn his head, during which he barely saw the Naruto he was talking to burst into a cloud of smoke, connoting that it was just another one of his shadow clones, before saw Naruto himself, who was almost on top of him, swinging his chakra-covered Bakken on him. "About time you activate that damn Sharingan," Naruto shouted, hoping to catch him off guard so that he would have no option other than to rely on his dojutsu. Alas, he didn't know that even if Yamato would have wanted to, he just couldn't. Although, it did make him reveal his unique ability, as he had almost just enough time to interlock his fingers and palm in the sign of serpent. With incredible speed, wooden pillars erupted from the ground as Yamato ducked to avoid getting hit. Before Naruto could make contact, his Bakken was blocked by one of the wooden trunks. The other ones coiled around Naruto and gripped him all around, rendering him completely immobile. For the first time in the whole scuffle, it was Naruto who had been baffled and was at a loss for words. Not that Yamato was any less odd, but the one unusually calm was Naruto. "Hey, wait, what? This is Mokuten, but it's supposed to have only been used by the Shadaime Hokage. No one else could master it for such a long time. How can you do it then?" "Oh, I see. The Sharingan, huh? It's supposed to cast one of the most powerful genjutsu, if I remember correctly. You really are an impressive Uchiha, sensei." "Guess I lost," Naruto said. "Don't you say that again, ever. I already told you I don't belong to the Uchiha. And frankly, I ate genjutsu. As for my last name, there is none. Now if we're done with this, let's talk about your genjutsu first," Yamato declared. "Right back at you, sensei. I ate genjutsu too. And don't give me that story. I mean, how can you use wood style if it had gone extinct with the first Hokage? Even old man Sandaime can't use it," Naruto retorted. However, before the conversation could escalate, both Yugao and Hayate interrupted them. Okay guys, relax. We know both of us are quite surprised with each other, but trust me, we were too when we met you. Ten's Yamato, can you please release him now?" Yugao said. "Sure. I guess nothing will come out if we keep arguing. I'm actually ashamed I lost my cool, even if what I saw seemed virtually impossible," Yamato said, releasing Naruto as the wooden vines traced their path back into the ground. "Phew. I felt like my chakra was being drained or something. But now I feel okay," Naruto said, dusting off his clothes. "Okay, so now let's clear up the," Yugao started but was interrupted. "First will be how he can use the wood style, which is supposedly extinct. Anything else can wait until later," Naruto said. Yamato sighed but knew he'd have to do this before he got his chance for the questions. "You're correct. Only Lord Shadaime Hokage had the ability to manipulate wood style. The fact that I'm able to use it is exactly because of that. His cells were implanted into me and hence I got this ability," he explained. "But your body must have rejected the transplanted cells instantly, or vice versa. You'd explode into pieces before your body can even start to adapt. There's no way it could have happened." Naruto stopped, "unless. I don't think further details would be relevant. Although I'm impressed by your knowledge of the human body, I must say," Yamato said. Naruto already understood how it would have happened to his teacher. The only time the body would have adapted to the foreign matter and incorporated into its own would be when he was an infant, since they could have merged with his own totipotent stem cells. It would have been a high-risk experiment whenever it was conducted, and Yamato was fortunate enough to be alive. On the other hand, there might have been numerous children who would have died like guinea pigs in an experiment. After all, if it was that successful, wouldn't more Mokuten users be walking around in Konoha? The mere thought of this sent a shiver up his spine as to who could be cruel enough to attempt such a diabolical act. "Now if that's clear, would you tell me why I see you using two different nature releases perfectly?" Yamato asked. "Well, duh. Because I did use them, of course. And don't tell me you're so dumb that you didn't even realize I weakened your Earth-style barrier using Raiden. Poor observation skills, sensei, Naruto said. What? But how can you? And hey, I did see that but ignored it because I already had seen you using two different natures clearly. What the hell is going on? Why can this kid use three different chakra natures? Yamato said, looking at Naruto and Yugao Hayate back and forth. Well, obviously because the author wanted me to. Get it inside your head, sensei, I'm the shonen protagonist here. The story revolves around me, Naruto said. Hey Naruto, WTF dude. Don't break the fourth wall here. Others will realize I'm up to something. XD. What? Asked the trio. I actually meant what type of a question is that? I was just trying to be sarcastic. I can use different chakra natures because I have an affinity to them, obviously, Naruto said. All of them deadpanned at his statement, but then Yamato said, but still. Three nature affinities. That's something quite rare, I've never ever seen someone like that before. Now it was time for the others to be silent, waiting for one another to hope someone will stand up to let the cat out of the bag. Ultimately it was Hayate, since both his student and his girlfriend, fellow teacher, were looking at him expectantly. 4. Hayate said plainly. What? Yamato asked. Naruto possesses not 3 but 4 different chakra natures, Hayate said with his hands folded and eyes keenly on Yamato to defend himself in case Yamato thinks they were some novice ninja imposters or dispel some genjutsu or, literally anything, given what the situation was. He also didn't cough since he was slowly speaking the entire sentence. What you said, my friend, just now is absolutely ridiculous. That's not something rare, it's virtually next to impossible. I'm thinking I'll go nuts if I stay here any longer, Yamato said. Get a hold of yourself, dude. You've been, coughs, an Anbu for so long now. Don't you guys have to prepare for anything and, coughs, everything, Hayate said. Anything and everything, yes. But about all which is unexpected, not unreal, Yamato said. He added, hey, speaking of which, weren't you guys surprised when you found out about it? Both Hayate and Yugao looked at each other while Yamato raised an eyebrow as we once again delve into another flashback, winking face. It had been a few months since Naruto started his training. Once his ninjutsu training with the Hokage had been completed, both Hayate and Yugao were on their way to meet him. Although this time they decided to go pick him up from where he trained for a change rather than wait for him at the training grounds like they did mostly. To say they were surprised to see the changed landscape would be an understatement. The area beside the pond was a complete mess. And it was even more surprising since the Hokage training grounds were maintained on high priority. That meant whatever happened was not too far back in the past. The ground erupted at a few places, water was accumulated in many places on the ground and many of the rocks seemed to be shattered. Scanning with their gaze around, they found Naruto lying down somewhere in the middle of it. He was breathing heavily and his eyes were closed but slightly squinted, indicating that he wasn't asleep or out cold, just tired. Sensing both of them approach, he opened his eyes and said, "Good morning, sensei. What a surprise, you came here to pick me up." By this time both of them were on his side, with one folding his hands and the other keeping them on her waist. What could have happened to make the scenery so beautiful around here, Naruto? Yugao asked in a sarcastic way which seemed obvious. Why don't you guys set up a picnic here then and I'll give you some privacy by going home? Naruto retorted cheekily. Yugao blushed, knowing that Naruto didn't exactly know what things could happen in privacy such as this. At the same time, she was also irked that he had like this many times quite craftily gotten out of punishments or teasing. Answer the question, Naruto, Hayate said. I, kind of, zapped myself since there was so much water around. Naruto said with an unusually embarrassed face. You zapped yourself. As in, electrified? Yugao asked with a piqued interest. Well, duh. What else does that mean? Naruto said. But how? There's no electric line anywhere nearby, she asked. Naruto remembered that he had not told them about his natural affinities. First he thought about pulling a prank by zapping them, but then dropped it knowing that he'd have to endure some sort of punishment and he was a little too tired at the moment for that. Let me show you. Please stand back, Naruto said. Both of them shrugged and took a few steps back. Naruto formed a few hand signs in succession and put them on the ground as he crouched. Before anyone had a chance to say anything, a mud wall erupted from the earth. It wasn't perfect yet, as the shape and strength still needed work, but that was far from what the others were thinking. But I thought he had a water affinity, Hayate said. What was that about being zapped then? Yugao asked. Unseen by them, Naruto had already started to weave a second set of hand signs behind the wall. A few moments later, he was on top of the wall and a simple press of his palm on the wall sent an electric wave through, breaking it easily. He wasn't scratched a bit and landed feet first easily on the ground. Both Hayate and Yugao had their jaws on the ground too as they were at a loss for words. Naruto, how did you learn Doden and Raiden? It takes years, coughs, to master one chakra nature but three at once sounds really far-fetched, Hayate said. It's because I have an affinity for them all. And before we have this discussion all over again, first let me tell you I have one more. Although I can't control it properly so I don't use it, Naruto said. Don't exaggerate it. It's already rare enough to hear that. Consider me surprised, Yugao said. Naruto shrugged knowing that some things are really hard to digest unless proved otherwise. He formed the last set of hand seals and an invisible sphere of wind started to form in his hands. Wind style. Spiraling wind ball. Although halfway through, it started getting unstable and exploded point blank between the three. All of them were thrown by the shock wave several meters away skidding on their backs. See, tell ya. Naruto finished. At this point, both of them wouldn't even have raised a single question if someone out of the blue told them that an alien race with horns on their head would plan to destroy Earth someday. Flashback over. No, sure we were surprised but nothing unusual. Definitely not freak out like you did right now, Yugao said with an absolutely incredible poker face. Even Hayate was surprised but kept quiet since it was better for him too. Yamato was looking at them with a blank expression wondering if he seriously was overreacting. But then he understood that they were bluffing since no one could take in such a fact easily and due to the fact that Naruto had rolled his eyes at the exact same time. However, he didn't call them out in front of Naruto and made a mental note to tell them later. Fine, whatever. You win. Now I think that's enough for the introductions. I'd rather not see anything new for at least today. Why don't you guys leave him in my care now and go do your work or something, Yamato said. He's all yours. We'll be here in the evening. Make sure not to overdo it, or he'd have a hard time training with us afterwards. Later, Yugao said. Yamato just nodded as the duo left the training grounds in Shunshin. He turned towards Naruto as he said, any questions before we start? Yeah, since this is my first day training with you, can you please treat me to ramen afterwards? After some light taijutsu spar, both Yamato and Naruto sat down in the shade to talk about things while taking a breather. As you may already know, our primary objective of training is to harness the colossal amount of chakra that is sealed inside of you. You must now also realize why I was chosen for this job. Mokuton is a special technique that can suppress the power of nine tails. Although to be honest, I'm not even a fraction of what our skilled Lord Shadaime Hokage was, Yamato said. He added, however that won't be all. Basic ninja skills are necessary before learning the advanced ones. You're already in the academy where you'll be taught all of that. Now here's the deal. You don't have to just learn it like any other student to pass. We'll work on how to excel at it. I get what you're saying, but can you elaborate? Naruto asked. You might have heard the saying, a ninja who has practiced 10,000 moves is not as deadly as the one who has practiced one move 10,000 times. Every small skill like throwing shuriken, kunai properly or laying traps quickly are essential for a shinobi. These may not be as flashy as ninjutsu but are a step you can't skip. No matter how tall a structure is, it doesn't stand for long as the foundation is weak, Yamato said. Naruto noticed that Yamato skipped a moment after saying the word but didn't ask right then. Hayate and Yugao are training you specifically in Kenjutsu, and that's good. I'll talk to them about teaching you how to use shorter blades or heavier weapons as well, if they haven't already thought about it. In the meantime, we'll also keep practicing ninjutsu. I'm not Lord Hokage, but still I can help you with Doden and Suiten at least, Yamato said. Naruto was an enthusiastic kid and all, but keeping up with the expectations of everyone seemed a little tougher after hearing it all. This was also reflected in his expression as Yamato noticed it and asked with a smile. Getting cold feet, are we? No, that's not it. I want to keep getting stronger and all, but Naruto stopped at a loss for words. It happens with everyone, kid. You just have to endure and keep going. That's what it means to be a shinobi. Truth be told, I wasn't exactly on the same page with Lord Hokage when he told me that I'll have to train a kid like you who has barely gotten into the ninja academy to control the power which could destroy nations altogether. But watching you here today actually made me think that you can do it, Yamato encouraged. Is that how you really feel, or are you just trying to cheer me up? I have mostly seen you with serious faces, unlike Hayate-sensei, Yugao-sensei or Jiji, Naruto asked. Look, I can't go into details, but listen. When I was your age, I was raised by some hardliner ninjas. It was Lord Hokage who took me under his wing afterwards, and I became who I am today because of that. He said that he saw potential in me and that I'd be able to become a great asset to the Leaf Village as a shinobi, Yamato said. He added after a pause, why I'm telling you this, is because I see the same potential he was talking about then inside you, and much greater. You are quite strong as of today, and I can write it down for you that it was because of the hard work you did until now. You falter here, all that would be for nothing. Keep on enduring whatever hardships come your way, until you achieve your goal. I heard that it was to become the Hokage, and it would take nothing less than that to achieve it. Naruto felt refreshed after hearing that and stood up as he said, Arigato, sensei. I was a little gloomy for a bit, but now your words have fueled me again. I'm ready to go whenever you are. Yamato smiled just a little bit, knowing that this training definitely won't be a waste of time after all. Time skip, few days later. Ugh, I can't do it, sensei. We've been at this for so much time and nothing has happened. Isn't there any other method? Naruto said as he laid on his back after sitting upright for many hours now. No, Naruto, there isn't. Only you can reach the inside of your mind, no one else. You've got to focus harder or it won't happen, Yamato said, bending his elbow after keeping his palm straight at him for the same amount of time. There was no special type of training or anything until now. Just plain old Naruto trying to concentrate and Yamato keeping the Kyuubi at bay in case it goes out of control. This was because there couldn't be anything else that could be done to have him use or control Kyuubi's power before there is at least some sort of contact between them. But sensei, for how long will we continue this? I don't see an end. I could sit here every day for my whole life and still there's no certainty that it will occur, Naruto said. Well, last time it happened due to your elevated emotional state as you told me. Guess I should throw you off a cliff and let's see what happens, Yamato wondered. Haha, very funny. Don't you dare do that ever, I'm warning you. Just find some non-violent way, Datbeo, Naruto said. Unless you're high on emotions, the seal will hold quite durably. Lord Fourth wasn't some pushover, kid. He must have kept all measures to keep the Kyuubi at bay so that a calamity like that doesn't happen ever again, Yamato said. Yeah, I know, Naruto said, putting his palm on his abdomen. But, if Lord Third thinks that it's best for the village, then we don't have to worry about anything. Let's keep trying, Yamato said. You're right. Gigi always cares for the village and everyone in it. So anyways, I was thinking that can't we just loosen the seal or something so I can get in, Naruto said. You idiot. Did you even listen to what I was saying? The seal is the only thing that's keeping the Kyuubi from getting out, Yamato scolded. Sorry, I guess I'm getting too impatient because of all this, Naruto said. Yamato contemplated for a few moments quietly before speaking up. On second thought, your idea may not seem so bad after all. What? But you said, Naruto started. Yamato put up a finger and interrupted in between, and said, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not tampering with the seal. Actually I can't even if I tried, because that would need a key. Anyways, coming back to the point, what I can do is temporarily suppress the effect of the seal that's stopping you from reaching out inside your mind, Yamato said. He added, but keep in mind, this will only be for a few moments. Even with Mokuten, there's not much I can do to get a seal of that level. You will have to have all your focus concentrated in that moment, or whatever the result be, it definitely won't be good for you and probably not for everyone around too. Naruto nodded in understanding as he once again sat up folding his legs and his hands straight resting on the knees in a meditating pose. After a few minutes toning his breathing and relaxing his body, he said, ready when you are, sensei. Yamato nodded and formed a seal on his palm. He waited for a few seconds to reaffirm his decision but then with a, the hell with it moment placed it on the double tetragram seal that had kept the demon fox contained for many years until now. Naruto felt nothing initially, but kept his focus throughout and the suppression of the seal took effect. He was suddenly pulled inside somewhere in darkness but in reality which was actually what they were hoping to achieve after all. His body became absolutely still as he was still in the meditation pose. Yamato was concerned for a moment and thus said, hey, Naruto. You okay? Did it work? Getting no response, he knew that it might or might not have worked. But if it did, he'd have to give him some time. So he just sat there once again with his palm in the direction of Naruto working on his job to keep the Nine Tails power suppressed. Naruto once again found himself in a familiar place that he had once encountered many years ago. Although this time he knew what it was, and also what he had come here to do. He walked through the same pipelines, covered seemingly endlessly with darkness with the sound of his feet splashing quietly in the water. He knew where the presence of the fox spirit was located and cautiously made his way towards it. A tiny bit of fear was creeping up in him, which was actually natural since not just about anyone could watch a legendary demon fox in front of him and not wet his pants. Naruto was trying to shrug it off but it wasn't going to, since a bigger part of his fear was actually anxiety at what he was supposed to do now. At the end of the dark tunnel there was the same old room with pipes all around and also a huge cage in the center behind which contained the gigantic creature in the form of a fox. Naruto looked around and remembered the time when Shizune would be teaching him and when he related everything to Ramen she'd frustratingly say that his mind was a garbage dump or something. I guess Shizune Nei-chan wasn't that far from the truth, he thought. He took a few steps forward but didn't get too close to the cage or he'd have to face a nail from the fox's claw like last time. Hey, Nine Tails, Naruto shouted. He didn't know the reason, but all the uncertainty and doubt left his mind instantly as soon as he said these words and the only thing left now was his willpower and courage. An eye could be seen opening slowly on the other side, which radiated nothing but pure evil and malice from its giant red pupils. It waited for a few moments before addressing the boy in front of him. "What are you doing here, you brat? Go back wherever you came from and don't disturb my slumber," the nine-tailed fox said. "I'm not here to disturb your sleep, Nine Tails. But I do want to talk to you," Naruto said. "Ha ha 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 ha. Why do you think a mighty creature like myself who has lived through eons in this world would consider wasting my time talking to some lowly human, and with a child even then?" Kyubi said. "Well, firstly, we are already talking. Secondly, don't consider me immature just because I'm a kid. And lastly, if you think you're better than humans, why are you stuck with someone such as me, huh?" Naruto retorted. The Nine Tails growled, showing its majestic fangs in anger and a little frustration at the remark. The effect it desired would have on Naruto, although wasn't seen even for a moment. "I swear, if it weren't for that damned fourth Hokage, I'd be free from these containments and do as I please. And yet, you humans do nothing but try to restrain us beasts only for the purpose that you strengthen your own militaristic power using the mighty strength that we possess. Make no mistake, I will achieve freedom, and when I do, you for one, will be dead," Kyubi said. "Don't blame Lord Fourth, you stupid fox. If it weren't for him, our village would have been turned into rubble and ashes. Courtesy of you. So don't try telling me again that you're just an innocent creature that was just passing by like any other tourist," Naruto replied. "Just get lost, you annoying brat. You'd fail to understand what the truth is even if I tell you, which is in any case quite the opposite of what I intend to do to you." Kyubi growled and flared its chakra but was immediately back to normal again. "What is this force which could suppress my power? The seal holds my power, it doesn't suppress it. No, it's something else. I'll have to find that out too," Kyubi thought. "Yeah, whatever. Try what you can. I'm not afraid, I'll stop you. I am not letting you or anyone lay a hand or a paw on my village. That is my duty as a citizen of the village and as someone who aspires to be the Hokage," Naruto said. "Ha ha ha ha, you, the Hokage. Freaking hilarious. Haven't heard something like that in the last thousands of years. The fourth Hokage was a skilled genius, and you on the other hand, are a completely foolish kid. Forget fighting me, you'd be lucky if you realize what happened before you get crushed beneath my paws," Kyubi taunted. "You'll be the one that's under my feet before you know it, you stupid fox. Just you wait until I train hard and become stronger. Even stronger than Lord Fourth or any Hokage that has ever existed," Naruto exclaimed. "I have no business with you. Do what you wish. After all, it won't be long before I'm free from this prison, and the first human I'm going after would be you." Kyubi growled and closed its eyes. "I'm not the one inside the cage, so don't go thinking you can do whatever you want. If you're gonna be using my body to live inside, you'll have to pay up rent as well. And I'll be taking your chakra as a currency for that. Do you understand?" Naruto declared. The Nine Tails was about to tell him to go to hell for Kami's sake and let him rest here in peace, but then a brainwave hit him. "Maybe it won't be so bad after all. I'll let my chakra leak away slowly so the seal would gradually weaken, and when the time comes, I'll take full control of his body," Kyubi thought. "You entertain me if nothing else, kid. Tell you what, I'll let you borrow my chakra whenever you need it." "Need it, not want it," Kyubi said. "Huh, that was easy. Well, saves me the trouble. But wait, how can I believe that whatever you said was true? What if you turn your back and deny it later?" Naruto asked with some hesitation. "Don't compare me with those pathetic humans you have in that village of yours, brat. I am one of the mightiest creations on this planet and I have my pride. But whatever, think what you want. I don't care about what your opinion is anyways," Kyubi growled, going back to sleep. Naruto wanted to talk more but knew that this was the best he could get out of that fox at this point of time. He looked around for a few more minutes and found literally nothing but pipes and water. He focused on going back into reality from his mindscape and succeeded in a few seconds. He opened his eyes and said, "Phew. Coming out is really quite easier than trying to go in, Datbeo." Yamato looked at him surprised, which was evident as he blinked his eyes multiple times and said, "Wait, what happened? Didn't it work? I thought for a moment you did it." "What are you talking about, sensei? I already did all that and I'm back here." "What were you doing all this time, dozing off?" Naruto asked. "What? But you've barely been like that for like 15 seconds before you opened your eyes again. Did you really manage to have a conversation with the nine-tailed fox?" Yamato asked. "No, I was there for like 15 minutes. Maybe since it's inside my mind, the sense of time must be different for both of us," Naruto said. "Are you positive? You're not telling this to get out of this training, right?" Yamato asked doubtfully. "No, I am absolutely positive I saw a monster fox who threatened to kill me along with this village and probably this entire human race if he could. There's only one way to prove that and I don't think any one of us would like to watch that happen. Same thing again after all the trouble Lord Fourth went through," Naruto said. Okay. You win. I believe you. No need to be so contentious. So how did it go? Judging by your behavior it doesn't seem like you could get any points across very well," Yamato said, raising his hands in defeat and then being serious again. "Yeah, that stupid fox is so annoying. Acting all high and mighty. Telling me that humans are trash or something. Just wait until I leave him behind eating dust," Naruto said and exhaled sharply. "You can't outmatch the Kyuubi's power as easily and simply as you make it seem. Even Hokage-level shinobi can't do that in a battle of strength. It's a different story, although since we're ninja, we can always outfox the opponent," Yamato said, laughing at his own pun. Naruto stood there with a deadpanned look at his poor attempt to make it humorous. But he ignored it, too uninterested to comment. "I don't care about that. I'm gonna be the strongest Hokage of all. And if Shadaime Hokage could do it, then I'll be able to do it too, one way or the other," he declared. Yeah, I heard it. I've been hearing that quite a lot and your training has barely started. Don't you ever want to be a little more quiet?" Yamato said. "What, you don't want me to remain motivated?" Naruto asked. "It's not that, just keep it to yourself. Use that energy in your training rather than announcing it to everyone every 15 minutes, Yamato said. "Believe it or not, saying it out loud gives me more energy and enthusiasm. And I don't have any shortage of energy if that's what you were implying in any way," Naruto replied. Never mind. We're going off topic here. What happened between you and the Nine Tails?" Yamato asked. "Nothing much. I kinda threatened him to give me chakra and he said yes," Naruto said. Yamato was standing there with his jaw hitting the ground comically along with protruding eyes. He retorted with a baffled expression, "Yeah, right. Do you take me for a fool? That is a demon fox who has the power to annihilate the whole village in one blow. You want me to believe you asked and it just relented? Like yeah, whatever you want, Naruto-sama. Ha ha ha, that look on your face. No, it wasn't like that at all. He was quite annoying as I told you already and didn't even talk straight," Naruto said. "Phew, this is not the time for jokes." Yamato breathed a sigh of relief. "I never lied though. He did accept to give me chakra if the need arises. I can't be sure that it would actually be true, but judging by how high and mighty he showed himself bathing in pride, I doubt that he'll back down," Naruto said. "Wow. Every moment brings twists and turns when I'm with you, Naruto. And I guess it would rather take control over your body later rather than dying along with you if you're in a life or death situation," Yamato theorized. "So he would die if I were to die too?" Naruto asked. "Well, temporarily," Yamato answered. "Meaning?" "Well, about that, Sometime later Naruto. What? Why? We are going off topic again. Ah, that's not FAIIIIIIIRRRRRRR. Quote. Fiend. Good. Now this situation, however, it may have turned out to have been better for us. I was hoping we'd manage to have some sort of communication after some tries, but you've as always exceeded my expectations, Yamato praised. Thanks, sensei. So what do we do now? Naruto asked. Now, back to the basics, Yamato said as he pulled out a pack of kunai and shuriken. Ah man, Boryang. Scene break and time skip. At the academy. Nara Shikamaru. Yan, sent. Uchiha Sasuke. Present, sensei. Uzumaki Naruto. Yes, here. I'm here, sensei. You don't have to shout every time, Naruto. I hear you just alright, Haruka said. Hehe, sorry, Naruto said, adjusting the glasses on his head. Okay class, today's topic is about, Haruka started. It had been a few months since Naruto had joined the academy and everything was going smoothly. Smooth, theoretically. Not in a practical sense. At least what was bound to happen was definitely happening, if nothing else. Naruto, you've scored the lowest marks in the test this time. How many times do I have to tell you to improve your score and study more? Haruka scolded. Sorry sensei, I'll try better next time, Naruto said. And Shikamaru, can you at least lift the pencil and write your name first? I had to go through previous tests and compare your handwriting, he added. Write my name, what a drag, Shikamaru replied with half-closed eyes. Why do I have to put up with a bunch of kids like you, Learn something from Sasuke here. He scored the highest marks in all the previous tests and has the best practical skills out of any of you, Haruka said. As always, most of the boys looked towards Sasuke enviously and the girls with animated hearts in their eyes. Sasuke, though, was collected, smiling and didn't make any attempt to brag or belittle anyone every time he scored well. It was because he had never seen Itachi do it, despite him being stronger than most of the ninjas in their clan or even the entire village, and Sasuke wanted to follow in his elder brother's footsteps as he respected him a lot more than anyone else. A few boys didn't care as much though, including Naruto, who had gone back to scribble some formulas on the back of his notebook which looked like doodling but which only he could know what they were meant for. Shikamaru, who had already gone to sleep after listening to Haruka. Choji, who was munching on his potato chips as always, trying to hide the pack in his bag like Kiba, who was trying to do the same thing but with his puppy. I'm referring to the hiding part here, not the eating part, XD. Coming back to Naruto, he had done an excellent job at disguising his abilities. Despite having numerous chances and impulses to show off, nor did he once act on it. No one in his class had any idea that he was far ahead of what he seemed, or far ahead of any of them too. At least that's what he wanted to believe. Haruka left the class for lunch break. As always, everyone scattered around and chattered loudly. Hey Naruto, what are you doing? Sasuke asked. This. Nothing in particular, Naruto replied, wanting to lie as little as possible. I think you should study more. You won't be scolded by sensei anymore then. And it is not easy to graduate if the score is very low throughout the year. So I hope you will try harder because I also don't want you to fail the academy test, Sasuke said. Naruto looked at him and knew that he was genuinely concerned, so replied, thanks Sasuke. I will. Don't worry, as I've always said, I won't let anything get in my way of becoming the Hokage. Anyways, how is your elder brother doing these days? It's been so long since I last met him, Naruto asked, wanting to change the topic. It was in a sense true, as Itachi only came a few times to pick up Sasuke and talk to both of them for a little bit. Although in actuality, Naruto knew that Itachi had come to see Sasuke numerous times during the academy hours. His stealth skills were exceptional, but Naruto's sensory abilities outmatched them completely. But Naruto never showed even the slightest bit that he had known about him the entire time. As oblivious as one could seem, he did. Yeah, he's quite busy these days with his duties. I'm unable to spend time with him. So I think you should probably forget about meeting him again soon, haha, Sasuke said. Ah, that's bad. He's a nice guy to talk to, Naruto said. Of course he is. He's the pride of the Uchiha clan. One day, I'll be just like him, Sasuke said. Haha, then maybe I'll try to be like him too, Naruto joked. Both of them bursted into laughter. It wasn't much later after that the girls started swarming around Sasuke. Naruto gladly took the chance and slipped away from the group. Later Sasuke, see ya, Naruto's words reached Sasuke's ears, but he was out of sight as soon as he said that. Well, however your scores may be, at least you don't have to put up with this, Naruto, Sasuke internally voiced exasperated. Scene break and time skip. Somewhere secluded on Hokage Tower. There were two people standing under the dim evening twilight. It was getting dark, but not darker than what tragedy had taken place in the Hidden Leaf Village. I apologize, Lord Hokage. It had to be done. The clan members were going to attempt the coup d'état tonight, the shadowy figure explained. I see. It's very unfortunate to hear this news. I deeply regret that I couldn't do anything to save my village through the means of peace. And to put such a burden on a shinobi like you at such a young age, I have miserably failed in my duty as the Hokage. Still I must say this, Konoha will forever be indebted to you, Itachi. The fire shadow bowed his head. Please my lord, you are the one who has kept the best interests of the village in mind more than anyone else. I am merely playing my role in helping to protect the village as much as I possibly can, Itachi replied, still kneeling down in front of him. Perhaps, if Minato was here he'd have handled the situation well and it wouldn't have come to this. I guess it's time I handed over my title to a suitable successor. To be honest, I was waiting for you to grow up into a shinobi worthy enough to lead the village. And without a doubt, you are already like that. Unfortunately, the circumstances are far opposite from what I had wanted, the Hokage sighed. If I may, Lord Hokage. It's my wish that you continue to be Hokage. It may sound selfish of me, but I need you to assure me that my younger brother, Uchiha Sasuke, will never be harmed in this village, Itachi said. Of course, you don't need to ask for it. But why do you think anyone will want to inflict harm upon him? The Hokage asked. My orders were clear, sir. Leave no survivors. As you know, Sasuke is still alive. And I wish him to be like that from now on too. He is to be the legacy of the Uchiha, Itachi said. What do you mean orders? I gave no order to take any actions against the clan. Although I had doubts why you acted on your own, I chose to let them go. But now you're telling me that you were following someone's orders, Hiruzen asked sternly. I was ordered by Lord Danzo, sir. I had assumed that he was acting on your behalf. But I can't trust him with my brother's life, Itachi confessed. Danzo, that damned old war hawk. I won't let this go easily. I will personally see that no harm comes to young Sasuke by Danzo or any other person in this village. Rest assured about that, but now what about you? I never would have wished for such a fine shinobi like you to be disgraced as a rogue ninja. Keep in contact with me, and ask if you need any help, the Hokage said. To be named as a rogue ninja is not a disgrace to me in the least, Lord Hokage. It is in essence of actually being a rogue ninja that is disgraceful. I am Itachi Uchiha of the Leaf, and forever will be as long as I shall live, he said. I wish the next generation of shinobi are just like you. Konoha will surely have a bright future, the Hokage said with a tiny glimpse of smile on his face for the first time after hearing the tragic news. I'm honored. But I think I should take my leave now, Itachi said and disappeared hastily. The Hokage picked this up quite quickly as he turned around maintaining a calm expression only to find someone who just arrived there. Naruto, what are you doing here? And how did you know I was here? He asked. Well, duh. Did you forget Gigi? I'm a master class censor. Sunglasses emoji XD, Naruto said. Yeah, how silly of me. But that doesn't answer why you are here. What was so urgent you couldn't wait? The Hokage asked. You're asking what was so urgent. Let me ask you what was so urgent that you had to call all of my teachers at once. Who am I supposed to train with now? Naruto said in his usual loud voice. Important Anbu affairs, Naruto. It's something that requires all of them, including Hayate. You'll have to train on your own until they come back. I can't do anything about it, he said in a tone which said, don't argue, just quietly follow whatever instructions I give or there'll be consequences. Naruto gulped and nodded saying, I understand. I'll go train on my own. Very well then, you may leave. Now, the Hokage ordered as Naruto prepared to leave. Hi, he said as he disappeared in a body flicker. After leaping through a few buildings, Naruto stopped on a roof of a tall building and released a deep breath he didn't know he was holding. Phew, I didn't know Gigi could be so scary. Well, he's not the Hokage just for its name. I must have interrupted him at a really bad time or in a bad mood. And if all the Anbu force is being summoned, then it must be about something big, he said out loud. Well, I guess I should just go home and train. It's already getting dark, so no benefit going to the training fields and back. I also have academy classes tomorrow morning, he thought, speeding through the village towards his home. Scene break and time skip. Uchiha District. It was a scene nobody would willingly want to encounter in the part of the village where the Uchiha lived, the word, lived, literally being true as the entire clan had now been slaughtered. The bodies of the clan members lay as lifeless as dolls who had been disposed of ruthlessly. The streets were soaked not with water but blood. Blood, of innocent women, as well as children. Blood, of each and every one person who lived there. Blood, of an entire clan. That very blood, shimmered in the moonlight at the sight of which even the most stone-hearted person would get shivers up his spine. The Hokage had already reached the place with his Anbu teams and sealed it to restrict any access to the general public. The Anbu were assigned to different parts of the area to collect the corpses and look for survivors, if any. Most of them were under the Hokage's direct command, but many were also root members. Hokage-sama, we found a survivor. Identified as Uchiha Sasuke, son of the now deceased head of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku. Status, stable condition. He doesn't seem to have any life-threatening injuries. But we've already sent him to the hospital. He's fine, at least physically. Further investigation will only be possible when he wakes up, a female Anbu with violet hair reported. Good. Make sure he's well protected. He's in quite a danger being the last of Uchiha, the third said, eyeing Danzo. Hi, Hokage-sama, she said and vanished. Turning to his old teammate he said, Danzo, I heard you had given certain orders without consulting with me or taking my permission. It won't go unpunished. Danzo replied, with all regards, Lord Hokage, I did what I felt would be in the best interests of the Ville. Enough already. No more excuses. Your organization, the Anbu Root, is officially dissolved with immediate effect, and as is your position as my second in command. You're now nothing more than a member of the advisory council like Kaharu and Homura. And you better don't try anything stupid or there'll be consequences, the Hokage ordered in a low but stern voice. You don't know what you're doing, Hiruzen. They weren't going to settle for peaceful negotiations anyways. If I hadn't done this, the whole village would have been in a civil war, Danzo replied. One more word, my friend, and you'll regret it, was the only reply he got from the Hokage. Danzo wasn't one to be intimidated that easily, but he knew his limits. Hiruzen was the Hokage and he could very well have him arrested and executed on account of what he had done. Neither could he stage a rebellion without proper planning. So he decided to accept it for now. "Hi, Hokage-sama," he said as he bowed his head and left with two of his guards. Not more than a minute later, he was stopped by one of his own bodyguards, making him even more irritated. "Now what do you?" He was completely taken aback to see a set of menacing crimson eyes known as the Sharingan digging deeply into his own. What are you doing here?" he asked subconsciously, sweating. "I heard the conversation between you and Hokage-sama there. Doesn't look like there's much left for you to do. And it's good that way. But that's not why I'm here," he said. "Just a reminder, Danzo-san. I know for a fact that you love this village as much as I do and wouldn't want anything bad to happen. But, if anything happens to my younger brother, I will forget all the debts that I owe to the village and I will personally see that our enemies get the complete top-secret confidential information that I had access to, which will surely not be good for Konoha. Consider this as a gentle reminder or a warning for this village, as you may. No one touches Sasuke," Itachi said in a calm but deadly manner. He then disappeared into the sky, transforming into a flock of crows, leaving a stunned and sweating Danzo. Did you guys know that a group of crows is known as murder? Gee, don't believe me. Google it. Damn it, was all he could say out loud. Scene break and time skip. Shinobi Academy, few weeks later. Naruto watched Sasuke, who was sitting all alone sulking in the corner of the class. It had been some time now that he had heard the news of the massacre of the Uchiha clan. The fact was irrefutable that it was Itachi Uchiha who had committed such a heinous crime and was now a rogue shinobi. Just being tagged as a rogue shinobi is in itself an ultimate disgrace to a ninja, and killing an entire clan on top of that. That too his own. Undeniably inhuman. And yet, despite all of this, Naruto couldn't help but wonder why would someone like Itachi do all of this. How, was not the question. He was a capable shinobi and considered a genius among all. He could easily pull off something like that with the element of surprise. But why did he do it? He hadn't asked the Hokage anything since he knew that anything not made public was classified information and he wasn't exactly someone who should know about it. Although he did try asking his teachers, all he got was, "Honestly Naruto, we don't know anything about that more than you do. And even if we did, really, do you think we could just tell you anything without having serious consequences? We're Anbu, and you aren't even a ninja yet. Now get going with your training." Anyways, that was all in the past now. What he had to do was go to Sasuke and help him through this time. This was his first day at the academy after the incident. And he didn't seem in a good mood either, not that he should be. After all, the one he looked up to the most, was the very person who had ruined his life, it seemed. Why was Sasuke left to live though, was also one of the questions in Naruto's mind. Making up his mind, he went to Sasuke in hopes of trying to talk to him. He was also worried a little as he had read in medical science that some people go into depression when there is any psychological trauma that could have a great impact. Time wasn't an issue as the lunch break had just started. "Hey there, Sasuke. How are you doing, buddy?" Naruto asked as he was genuinely concerned, though there was some hesitation since he didn't know what exactly to expect in reaction. What he didn't expect though, was no reaction at all. Sasuke just looked at him and went back to look outside the window. Naruto was a little confused as to what happened, so he tried again. "Sasuke. It's been a few days since I met you. Are you doing fine now?" Sasuke said in a low but sharp voice without ever turning his gaze from the window. "Get lost, Naruto. Naruto kept on trying to talk to him despite the cold attitude he was receiving, since he didn't want to break what friendship they had just because he was upset. Sasuke, please listen to me. I'm sorry about your loss, I really am. You are bound to be angry and it's okay, but don't get cut off from people or it'll get worse. Trust me, I understand how you feel. And I don't even know what to say about Itachi except that I am as baffled as you must be. Just talk to someone, anyone, if not me, Naruto said. Sasuke had already stopped listening when he heard the name Itachi. Anger flared up inside him and he acted on it immediately as he stood up facing Naruto as soon as he had finished speaking. You say you understand how I feel. Have you ever lost your parents? To your own brother, and with them your entire clan. The one you revered the most suddenly in your life. No you don't, Naruto. And how do you know, you don't even have a clan or had parents in the first place. So just get your shit out of my face, Sasuke said. He had said this in a not so loud voice but the fangirls sulked around in some distance because their dear Sasuke wouldn't talk to anyone and noticed his angry expression. As expected, they made their way to Naruto to beat some sense into him and maybe get a good impression from Sasuke. On the other hand, Naruto was surprised that Sasuke was using such a tone and language. He had never seen him like this as he was always polite to everyone else before including himself. Sasuke cool down, I didn't mean to. Naruto was pushed away harshly by Sasuke before he could say anything to him. Naruto could have easily blocked or dodged it but it was against his code that no one should be aware of his strength. The outcome was that he stumbled backwards and into somebody on his side just behind. The force was enough for both of them to lose their balance and trip down on the floor, sliding across the wide stairs a bit. The fangirls ignored Naruto and immediately surrounded Sasuke asking if he's hurt or if Naruto did something. Sakura was the most enthusiastic one but all of them were turned down as he calmed down and left the room as now most of the eyes were fixed upon what was going on. Meanwhile, Naruto opened his eyes feeling the weight of somebody else on him only to find a light blue set of eyes upon him. What's peculiar was that the other person was equally transfixed into the deep ocean blue eyes of Naruto. Ino. Right, it had to be Ino. She was among the fangirls but fell down along with Naruto, although she wasn't hurt as she was above him and he felt all the pain. Anyways, at the moment she was trying to interpret what had happened so suddenly. Not that she fell down, but what she had felt when she looked into the eyes of this young ninja. Her clan had a special ability known throughout the land that they were able to tap into the minds of their opponents. Involuntarily, something of that sort did occur with her, probably. And that was even more surprising as she felt Naruto to be way more powerful than anyone else in the class. Not to mention he did feel toned under the loose clothes he always wore. Wow, who'd have thought that? Hey Ino, are you listening? Naruto said, taking her out of her thoughts. Naruto. You idiot. Why'd you have to stumble on me? Now get the hell away, she said. Okay but you would have to move first, he said innocently. She quickly realized that they weren't in a position that she'd want anyone to look at. She quickly stood up and straightened as Sasuke walked out of the room. Well, phew, that was good. Nobody saw them like that. You are not to tell anyone about this, okay? If you do, I'll punch you so much you won't be able to identify yourself, Ino said. Whatever. It isn't like I would go gossiping about such a small thing. Later. Naruto said and walked away leaving a fuming Ino who thought she was being ignored. Naruto, although, was more concerned about what happened with Sasuke. He had reached a stage where he was being violent. Not a good sign, but still, there was something more Naruto could see other than anger, and it was far more reaching than anger. Ego. Anger was temporary. But once someone becomes egoistic, it's quite tough to turn back. He was walking and thinking over it facing downwards when he heard a feminine voice directed at him. Naruto-san, you're not hurt right, she said. Huh? Naruto reflexively said as he looked up. Are you alright? She repeated with constantly increasing blush on her face. Oh, I'm alright. That was nothing at all. But thanks for asking, Hinata, right? He said. Yes. She replied. It's nice to meet you. Didn't see you around very much though, he said, extending a hand. It's nice to meet you too. And yes, sorry about that, Hinata said, not knowing what to say as she had always sneaked out for lunch eating alone due to her shyness. Nothing to be sorry about, Hinata. But hey, why do I feel like I've met you somewhere before? He asked. Hinata's blush intensified suddenly as she thought, he remembers that time. And he remembered me too. Maybe it was the time when I was lost in town and you saved me from some bullies. Thank you for that again, she said, fidgeting her fingers. Her trademark move XD. Yeah, that's right. Now I remember. And hee, sorry from my side this time, I forgot. But hey, are you okay, Hinata? You're looking so red, you don't have a fever or something, right? Naruto said. Hinata was unable to reply anything much longer, so she said, I have to go for lunch, Naruto-san. Maybe I'll see you later. Oh, right. Thanks again for checking on me. And yeah, I'd always love to talk to my friends, Naruto said, showing a thumbs up and a wide grin. Hinata gasped slightly hearing the last line and quickly walked away before she would have a heat stroke given the amount of heat that was burning her face up. Whoa, she left in a hurry. Well, I gotta go have lunch too, Naruto said. A group of students came back to the classroom after packing up their finished lunchboxes. They had all become good friends in the past few months, including Naruto as well as Sasuke. Shikamaru, I really wish we could go live at Choji's place. His mom makes such good food I can eat it forever, Naruto said. No thanks, I'd like to just go to my own home and sleep in my backyard watching the clouds drift by, Shikamaru replied, yawning. Thanks, Naruto. I'll have mom pack some more from tomorrow on if you like it, Choji said. No, I was just joking. I mean, not joking about the food, it was awesome. But I don't want her to have to do extra work because of me. I'll make sure to only take it from your share of food, my dear friend, Naruto teased. Yeah, like hell. I require a certain amount of calories and I take them whatever happens, regularly, Choji replied. Yeah, we can see that in your good shape, Naruto joked. What did you just say? Choji said in an angry voice. I mean your health is as good as ever, Naruto's sweat dropped. Suddenly Choji started laughing and said, well, you're not the only one who gets to pull someone's leg. Everyone else started laughing too except for Shikamaru, who was yawning, and Shino, who remained quiet as always. Kiba said, now we'll have to deal with classes again. I'm tired. We should get more training than these boring classes. This is a ninja academy, after all. We have to be able to understand things before we go apply them so that we don't go into battles without having a clue what's going on. It's essential for a ninja, Naruto cleared. Yeah, right, as if I'd listen to someone like you. Do you remember who has the lowest grade average in our whole class? Yeah, it's you, Kiba retorted. This was still what everyone thought in the class, that Naruto was just a dumb knucklehead. Except for one guy. Guess who? Right, Shikamaru, of course. This guy was literally too smart not to notice the little things. He had also confronted Naruto about his doubts when he first observed something out of the ordinary. And Naruto had thought clearly about it beforehand, since the members of the Nara clan are the most curious ones, even though they're lazy as hell. He had indirectly told Shikamaru that his analysis was correct and Naruto indeed wasn't as he looked like. Upon confirmation, He also asked Shikamaru not to tell anyone about it, just in case. As expected, Shikamaru assured him that it won't happen as gossiping was too much work anyway. The rest of them, though, didn't have a clue. "Hey guys, I want to ask something. It's about Sasuke," Naruto said. "About how he pushed you around today. Or how he ignored and belittled us when we went to check on him earlier. No thanks. I don't want to have anything to do with him now. Here we are trying to help him and he's acting all high and mighty because Kami knows what," Kiba said angrily. "It's true, Naruto. We did go to check on him before," Choji said, munching some newly opened potato chips. "Indeed, his behavior was not what one would expect from him at this time," Shino said. "Whoa Shino, you can talk too," Kiba joked. "Shut up, Kiba," he replied in the same neutral expression. "Okay guys, I see. It can't be helped. It's up to him now I guess. All we can do is let him take his time." Naruto sighed as the teacher entered for the next class. Scene break and time skip. Training grounds. "So what will we be training today, sensei?" "The usual sparring," Naruto asked. "No, it's time for something advanced. You can practice when you're alone, since there's always scope for improvement. For now, it won't help even if we spar with you continuously. So we'll be going to the next lesson." "I hope you're ready," Hayate said. "I'm always ready, Datbeo," said Naruto. Yeah we get it already, just calm down. Now listen carefully, this exercise is different from the others and is a quite advanced version of Kenjutsu, Yugao said. "Wow, I'm getting to learn an advanced technique right now." "Yeah," Naruto said. "Of course, and you are very well able to learn it now. But keep in mind two things. This is a delicate task so you'll have to be extra careful and it will take far more practice than you've previously had," she added. "Getting to the point, what you'll be doing is using chakra with your sword," Hayate said. "But I already do that, don't I? I can add chakra to my Bakken to make it more durable and sharp," Naruto asked. "Yes, you can. But what we'll be doing now is that we'll add elemental chakra to the sword," Yugao said. "Whoa, you mean, like I can add chakra natures to them too? Damn it, I can't do Kaden yet. How cool would it have been to swing a blazing sword?" Naruto pouted while showing an action of a slow-moving sword with his Bakken. "Shut it, how many times have I told you that this isn't child's play? If you weren't so good at this, I haven't even tried to train you," Yugao scolded. "Sorry, I'll make sure to be serious from now on, Datbeo," Naruto said while saluting in the attention pose which was actually comical, and ultimately which made a tick appear on Yugao's forehead. "Next time you fool around Naruto I swear I'm gonna," Yugao started. Okay, cool down. Let's keep our composure, and stay focused," Hayate said, eyeing both of them. "Fine. Give me your Bakken, Naruto," Yugao said. "What? But why?" he asked. Yugao gave him a quick hard stare which drained any thoughts of arguing with her out of him. He pulled out his Bakken and handed it to her quietly. "Look closely," she said. She coated the Bakken with a thin film of raw chakra and said, "You already know how to do this." A few moments later, the chakra started transforming violently, giving out electric sparks. Unfortunately, the Bakken wasn't able to withstand it and the wood splintered almost immediately. Wait. I'm sorry, I won't fool around. Please don't break my Bakken like that," Naruto said. Look closely at Naruto. She isn't breaking it. This is what you're going to be training for from now on. Do you think your Bakken would be able to withstand that?" Hayate said. Naruto realized that it was indeed true. She had channeled lightning chakra in the Bakken and it shattered on its own. "So, I'm guessing you have a solution to this problem?" Naruto asked expectantly. "Of course we do," Yugao said. She pulled out a scroll from the back and rolled it open in front of them. She weaved a few hand signs and placed her hand on a storage seal. In a moment as the cloud of smoke disappeared, and a plain thin rectangular staff of pitch black stainless steel became visible. Although it was quite shiny and attractive, it still didn't look much different from a bakken, except that it wasn't wood. "This is what you'll be training with, from now on," Yugao said. Naruto blinked twice before looking at it again. Wasn't kenjutsu supposed to be trained with a sword? But again, a bakken wouldn't do, so I'm gonna train with a staff. I don't have any problem with it or anything, but changing the weapon type is going to be a distraction from the current training. We are training kenjutsu at the moment, after all, Naruto asked. This time, Hayate and Yugao blinked, looking at each other and then towards Naruto. "What coughs do you think this is?" Hayate asked. "A metal staff." "Well," Naruto said. Yugao just shook her head while Hayate just picked it up and threw it to Naruto, who caught it easily. Upon handling it though, something seemed off. "Got something to say?" Hayate asked. "Yeah, it's so light. It feels kind of like a sword. This staff is actually great for kenjutsu," Naruto said. Suddenly he felt a light punch on the top of his head. "OWWWW. What's that for?" Naruto said. Apparently, it wasn't that light as a lump formed on Naruto's head anime style. "What was that for, you ask? What did I teach you in the beginning? Kenjutsu is a revered art and you should always respect the sword. Using other weapons too as a whole is regarded as bukijutsu. Kenjutsu is all about swords, never forget that. A bakken might be a wooden sword used for practice, but it's a sword nonetheless," Yugao said. "I don't understand. First you give it to me yourself, and now you're the one who's complaining about it," Naruto said. "Coughs, hold the edges of your so-called staff, and pull them." "No questions," Hayate said. Naruto frowned at first as he was indeed going to ask about it. Nonetheless he followed the instruction exactly as was told to. To his surprise though, it detached from itself on the right side and inside it could clearly be seen a sword, without a doubt. And it wasn't just another ordinary sword, he could feel. "Wow, it's a sword. I could have never imagined," Naruto said. "Well, that was unexpected to be honest. Considering how many books you read, I thought you'd have a good knowledge in all the subjects. Looks like you don't study as much after all," Yugao said in a teasing manner. "HMPH, it's one thing to read and another to actually memorize all of it. Don't expect that I can recall everything," Naruto said. "This type of sword is called a shikamazu. Coughs originally, it was the name of a sword that was concealed in a cane, but it can also be referred to as a swordstick. It might also resemble the cough's shirasaya, but that is used solely for the purpose of storage. It is because a sword without tsuka is quite dangerous in combat, and for the same reason it's going to be risky for you too," Hayate explained. Naruto was listening intently and recalled quite a lot from when he had read about all types of weapons. He was grateful that his teachers had given him such a sword. Yet he could not stop but wondered about one thing. "But sensei, if you think that it's not good for combat, then why did you buy it in the first place?" Naruto asked. "As a matter of fact, neither of us bought it. It's a gift to you, from Lord Hokage," Hayate said. Flashback. "Oh Hayate, it's you. Come inside," the Hokage said after hearing a knock on the door of his office. "I came here for the weekly report on Naruto's training. I hope I'm not disturbing you." "Coughs?" Hayate asked, seeing all the stacks of papers around the table. Since it was meaningless for both of them to approach the Hokage just to submit a report, they had decided to take turns every week. It was Hayate's turn this time. "Of course not. These things just have no end to them. Still, this is something I just have to do, phew. Anyways, I hope the boy's not lagging around in his lessons. I missed the last few reports since I was quite busy," The Hokage asked, extending his hand to accept the report Hayate had formed. As the Hokage was reading it, Hayate replied, "No sir, it's quite the opposite. The kid's improved a lot. He still has a lot to learn, but at least it's safe coughs to say that he can handle a sword on his own." So, keeping the same schedule for the next weeks, the Hokage asked, flipping pages from the report. "I think it's time to change that, coughs sir. There's only little he can learn just by sparring. I talked to Yugao and we came to a combined conclusion that we should start teaching him something new. It's advanced, but the earlier we start, the more time he'll get to practice. Coughs with your permission, of course," Hayate said. Having completed reading the report and request, the Hokage said, "Since I don't know firsthand, I'll leave it to you people to figure out what's right. You have my permission." "Sir, understand. Thank you," Hayate said. "You still intend to teach him that with a Bakken?" Hiruzen asked with an amused expression. No, of course not. I'll find him a good sword for practice somewhere," Hayate said. "I see. Hold on for a minute," Hiruzen said as he stood and went towards his almirah while Hayate stood there quietly wondering what it was about. The Hokage unlocked the almirah, took out a scroll and handed it to Hayate. Upon reading the name of the article written on the scroll, Hayate was dumbfounded. But sir, this is not something to be given to a child. Coughs with all due respect, I know you see potential in him, but still," Hayate said. "I understand your concern, but don't worry. Give it to him, train him well. I had given the original one to one of my students, and it sure was a grave mistake. Still, I believe in the will of fire. And me giving him the blade is just a little token of that belief. It might not be the original one, but it's still quite tough and sturdy. Good luck teaching him, he's not an easy student to handle, haha," the Hokage said, taking out the pipe out of his mouth and exhaling the smoke at the same time. "Yes sir, if you say so. And yeah thanks. If there's nothing else, I'd like to take permission to leave," Hayate asked. The Hokage turned to go back to his table while waving his hand to dismiss him. Once he was gone, Hiruzen said, 12 more stacks, huh? Even shadow clones wouldn't help for this much. Well, I guess it can't be helped if some of these cigar ashes fall on the papers accidentally and catch fire," with a pleased grin on his face. Flashback over. From Gigi, Naruto asked, blinking twice. "Yes, and this is no ordinary one either, as you may already feel," Hayate said. "Not an ordinary blade," Naruto repeated. And that's the end of part 4. How did you like this part? Tell me in the comments, do you think Naruto's harem with Hinata and Anko is growing stronger? If you want part 5, then please like this video and comment, next part. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. I'll see you in the next part. Take care, bye.